Hello, this is David Baumblatt from Terabit Leadership. Welcome to today's show. We're going to be talking about two topics. And the reason we have another topic in is because of the war in Iran. So that's the new topic that we're going to talk about, because if there's a war, it's hard not to say a little bit about it. But I'll probably do an next episode on Iran. We're going to do some news and stuff, and then we're going to get into the clip that I mentioned. And that the theme is going to be about how black fatigue is turning Cuck White Men into strong white men. But when I say black fatigue, believe it or not, I'm going to relate it to the war and to this issue of racism in America. Because if we go into these wars, sooner or later, you have to ask yourself, what are you fighting for? I've said many times, I believe that the United States government, to include the military, are government mercenaries. I don't have a problem with mercenaries. I look at mercenaries as neutral, nothing good, nothing bad, but you don't shake their hand and say, thank you for your service. That's our United States military now. They're government mercenaries. Otherwise, if you disagree with me, what are they fighting for? And remember, you hear this, oh, my bad. You hear this cliche many times of the, been through this rodeo before. But if you remember Operation Iraqi Freedom, where Americans were so concerned about the freedoms of Iraqis, where not so much for me. Same thing with Afghanistan. So now there's this public outcry in America of the freedoms and the situation and the livelihoods of the Iranian citizens. What do I think? I don't really care that much. Nothing good, nothing bad. But the point being is, if MAGA and if Donald Trump was elected on America First principles, how about we pay more attention to America? And anyway, we'll go into it, and most people, Americans, don't realize, like, again, this military war machine, the amount of money, tax money that's going to be used on these wars, where is it coming from? Well, it's going to be ended up printing more US dollars. The debt's going to rise. Inflation's going to increase. The US dollars are going to become more devalued. Great for gold and crypto, and I think that's Donald Trump's plan, particularly with crypto. But to the average American citizen, if you think I'm wrong, ask yourself, how has life been economically for the middle class in America or the poor for the last 10, 20, 30 years? It's getting harder. You think these wars are going to help? I might go into it and we'll see the news, but think about the typical American who's having trouble putting food on the table. And now we're going to Iran. How does that affect? Like I said, I believe the best way to interpret Donald Trump's policy, and I still think he's the best president. He's not a nationalist. But anyway, think of American corporations first as opposed to American citizens first. That's the best way I could describe Donald Trump now, which is better than other presidents, but not going to get there. Hi, Golden Tulip. Good morning to you. So what we're going to do is let's go through a couple of the recent news here on X, and then we'll see, and then we'll go through. Let me see it here. Okay. We're just going to go one by one. So this is Monica Crawl. This is the typical, what did I keep saying? Fox News, CNN, not that much different. Not that much different. In fact, before I forget, there's a Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania who's now fully sort of online with Trump. But I can tell you something, if there's one thing that brings the Democrats and the Republicans together, probably the Israel and this war for the Jews here. But anyway, so what does Monica say? Let me make sure everyone can see it. All right. So what does Monica say? Same thing. Freedom-loving people have been waiting for this moment forever. Only one man, President Trump. Yeah, okay. What about the freedoms in America? I mean, like I said, I still see these dumb military generals who are trying to push the war in Afghanistan, how we have to go back. And they're telling us how bad life is for people in Afghanistan. Whatever. That's all I have to say. I mean, what about the life for Americans? I mean, there comes a time where you have to say, what's in it for us? Now, I know what's in it for the American corporations. I know what's in it for the American military industrial complex. I mean, if what I'm saying now you don't get, I don't know, then I have to question your intelligence level. Meaning, if you don't understand that these foreign wars are for the military industrial complex, for it could be Israel, could be for the elite donor groups, it could be for special interests, as opposed to the normal American citizen. I mean, again, go back to Afghanistan, Iraq. How much did those two wars help out the average American citizen? How much did those wars help out our military-industrial complex? Oh, huge, record profits. So anyway, so here we go with Monica. Thanks, Monica. I'm sure Monica has not responded to my messages because she's too busy thanking military veterans for their service. So thanks, Monica. I'm so glad I'm a military veteran who's not welcome back in America. And if you're a military veteran and you think I'm an anomaly, I'm not. They don't care about you. Once the war's done and you're retired or whatever, you're gone. They don't care about you. So here we go. Let's do another one here. So look at the MAGA. So this is Trump's blonde, and Trump's blonde is a full MAGA girl. Again, she's yet to respond to me, repost. I guess she's too busy, or maybe she doesn't know about me. That's always a good excuse. But they like to make Palestine free again. And what did I write in these comments? I think generally speaking, if you ask the average American, do you support Israel or do you support Palestine? I think the average American, especially nationalists, would respond neither, care less. I mean, the whole deal with the Palestine, I could get into in other subjects, but I think generally speaking, Americans are like, you know something, whatever the Palestinians and whatever the Israelis want to do, let them do it. But I really don't want to use American taxpayer money, and I don't really want to get in war. But you hear all these MAGA people, they're like, yeah, man, these MAGA people, they're so pro-Israeli. You know, if you're MAGA, imagine if you could spend as much time, money, and effort caring about American military veterans as you do with Israel. That would be an interesting thing. All right, let's go to the next thing. This is an interesting thing by Tucker Carlson. And what I wrote here, let me see if there's any comments here. Shane, I can't even imagine what precious metals are going to do. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see this. Now, what I do want to show is people say war is no good or war. It depends if you win the war, and we don't win wars anymore because these wars are for economic natures. But you as an American citizen are really not going to see the benefit of it. Oh yeah, of course, if you invest in gold and stuff. But the military-industrial complex, which I don't think people understand is as big as it is, they're going to make record profits. So anyway, I want to see this point about Tucker. This is a leadership point. Tucker has changed. Let me just bring this up now. I say again, if you go back to Tucker during his Fox News, I saw a couple of his episodes. He wasn't very into the negativity of feminism. I remember one episode, he's like, I think the problem with men is they need to man up and get married. And I remember there was a woman who wrote a book who told Tucker, should a man get married? It's a raw deal for marriage. And Tucker's like, Well, I think he might have changed his mind on that. And the second is about race. Tucker was always like, listen, you know, it doesn't matter. We're all people, and I don't care who you are, as long as you're a good person. Tucker's starting to talk about if we become a white minority. So what has changed Tucker? Well, it's easy to change. I could say what changed me, China. And I've lived abroad in many places. Again, I'm not a Middle Eastern expert, but I did live in Lebanon. And I could speak a little about the Palestinian. I met a lot of Palestinians. Truth be told, there are Christian Palestinians. But I want to be polite. When you say you don't care, it's a strong word. And I don't know a better vocabulary I could have. All I'm saying is what's happening in the Middle East, let them do it. But, you know, I'm not on board. I'm not one of these people, free Palestine. So I'm not one of these people. But at the same time, I'm not one of these people like, yes, I would love to give my tax money and I love to die for Israel. So I just look at it's similar to Taiwan. It's similar to China. It's similar to Ukraine. It's similar to Russia. I mean, I'm not going to be like, yeah, man, I support Ukraine. Or I'm not even, I support Russia. I don't know. I mean, they're not really friends of mine. I don't know them that well. I would just say they do what they got to do. But I'd say again, America's falling apart. It's time to go. So anyway, Tucker obviously has changed on here. Let's see what he has to say. Now, it is true. I have said that I still think Donald Trump is the best president of my entire life. But there were some other people that had some interesting politics. One is about Ron Paul. I think Ross Perot, if you remember him, he was a Naval Academy grad who lost. So we'll see. But I still believe that the future of politics, it's not going to be Washington, D.C. There will be no more uniting America. You're going to see America is already past the Rubicon. So the only person I would get behind politically is a person who has a bit of state politics where they're already saying is like, listen, we're splitting. But anyway, he's quoting Ron Paul. And I did many times look at Ron Paul as this guy's pretty sharp. But anyway, let's see what Tucker has to say. And that's what I mentioned about why I think Tucker has changed in many ways.
What really enraged the entire DC commentary class about Ron Paul is that he was right. Here's a selection of Ron Paul predictions from 2002.
I predict U.S. taxpayers will pay.
So interesting. We got to remember 2002, I was still in the U.S. Army right there, the war on terror, man. And how many dumb Americans were like, man, we got to get involved in Iraq. We have to get involved in Afghanistan. And I remember I was like, these wars we're going to lose. Well, I was pretty solid on those wars. And I need to do my story in the FBI one day about the war on terror. That also opened my eyes. But what Ron Paul says here, this guy's on it.
To rebuild Palestine as well as Afghanistan. Taxpayers paid to bomb these areas, so we will be expected to rebuild them. There will be big promises of more U.S. money and weapons flowing to Israel and to Arab countries allied with the United States. Federal Reserve policy will continue at an expanding rate with massive credit expansion, which will make the dollar crisis worse. Gold will be seen as an alternative to paper money as it returns to its historic role as money. Military and police powers will grow, satisfying the conservatives. The welfare state will expand, satisfying the liberals. Both sides will endorse military adventurism overseas. During the next decade, the American people will become poorer and less free, while they become more dependent on the government for economic security. Agitation from more class warfare will succeed in dividing us domestically. And believe it or not, I expect lobbyists will thrive more than ever during the dangerous period of chaos.
Those predictions are so precise that it's spooky. What really?
So I would be hard to disagree with them. Let me look at this real quick. Let me make sure we're on it. So anyway, let's do a little comment on that. Can't really argue with him. Ron Paul's on it. And here's another reason why I am not getting a lot of FaceTime, for a lot of reasons. Anyone who's smart, who reads my politics and what I'm saying here, knows it. One of the reasons I'm not is, when I left America, I wasn't like, screw you, America, but I knew it's a sinking ship. I'm very happy I was born and raised in America, but the values that I learned in America, to include West Point, this is not the values. We all know that, meaning the America 50 years, meaning if our World War II veterans would be alive today, what would they say? If our founding fathers were alive, what would they say? They would probably agree with me to say, David, I agree with you. Today's America is not the value. So I just left, and I never badmouthed America. The point being is they don't want a story like me to get out, where here a West Pointer says, I left America, and truth be told, I don't miss it. It's still I keep moving that. It's still a sinking ship here, and I don't really miss it. They don't want that. They want to continue to sell the dream, but the dream in America, it's getting worse and worse. Let's go to the next one, and then we'll see it. 1 second. Okay. So for this one, yeah, let me do a little thing. This is Owen Schroer. And the reason I think what happened with Owen, let me do a quick comment on Owen, which just shows how our government's falling apart. Not our government, yeah, you can say our government is. Owen Schroer, I got to give it out to him. He hosted me on 2 episodes of his show. This was when my X count was coming up. And so I thank him very much. And even he said, he's like, I cannot believe your story is not getting out. Now, Owen, I guess he had a fallout with, what was it? I keep forgetting these, InfoWars, whatever. And I tried to get on InfoWars too. I forgot the main guy, what is his name? But anyway, Alex Jones. Then I saw on Owen Schroer, he had the FBI grifters on there. And I'm telling you, without a doubt, I believe Owen, because he couldn't say it. He's like, hey, do you guys know this guy, David Baumblatt? And I bet the FBI grifter said something negative about me. Owen has never been impolite to me, but he never responded to me, which is fine. And it could be something else. But what I'm trying to tell you is, when you look at our own military, our own FBI, where we don't like each other, like even the FBI grifters, the regular FBI doesn't like them, even other whistleblowers don't like them. This is not a country anymore. It's getting too divided. And that's what I'm saying. They don't want my story, because I'm telling you, one of the things, and I need to do another video coming up, it is more and more Americans are leaving America. I've said many times, you're only going to have 3 choices. You're either going to have to leave America, You're going to have to get off the grid in some type of self-reliant system in America, in the country, or you're going to have to get into state politics, where some type of state politics where you're going to think about some type of, disenfranchisement of the federal government, where you're looking at seceding a state. That's the only way. I believe that Donald Trump is probably going to pass a Rubicon where people realize that after this, there's no coming back. Like if you're MAGA, once MAGA realizes that Donald Trump or what, J.D. Vance is not going to fix this, you think Gavin Newsom is going to fix it? Like if you go back to the Democrats, you're really a moron. So if you're MAGA and you finally realize Donald Trump, he's not going to fix this, what do you do? That's when it's going to hit people. It started hitting me in 2005, and I didn't know what to do until I said I left America. But I think people are going to realize that at the end of Donald Trump's term, it's going to get worse. I believe we're going to hit an economic crash. And then once MAGA realizes that Donald Trump is not going to save this, what are they going to do? It's going to be screwed. We got a lot to go on. Let me just share this quick with Owen Schroer because he's on it. So, and I agree with him. Like I said, I don't think he knows about me. He used to follow me, but whatever. He's got his own town. But anyway, Owen did me very good. He hosted me twice. And I said, this is what's going to happen. It's going to split. This is what Owen says. And he's on it. He's like, look at this. This is what MAGA is all about. This is what we voted for here. Really? I mean, just look at that. Is it? All right. If it is, we'll see where that goes. Anyway, let's go to another one here. This is just me talking. And I said, okay, you got this. This is the Wall Street apes. He's like, okay, we're putting hand up here. I guess is what we're going to do. But it's a good question. Shouldn't Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin be on there? I'm just curious why they put them on there, but I guess this is what we're going to do. We're going to go around, just like Donald Trump said, we shouldn't do regime changes, but technically you should put Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin on here. I don't know why they're not, but anyway, like I said, I'm not in the military anymore, so I'm not going to die for America. Let these other people die, have fun. Anyway, let's come here. This is again from, as you can see here, right here. Who needs George Bush? I mean, think about it. You're telling me there's not some similarities in what we're doing here with George Bush? There's similarities, people. Now, we're not putting boots on the ground yet. That's a big difference how they do it. But kind of the same thing. This is Donald Trump. Let's go here quick. This is one thing I want to point out. This is, again, why I tell you our country's falling apart. This is Jen, and she reposted it. And here's why I could tell you why our country's falling apart. Let me put this on here. When I have to literally emphasize this woman, Jen, now she's MAGA, which is fine. I mean, I'm technically MAGA. I've said many times I support Donald Trump, and he's the best person, though I'm definitely drifting away from MAGA. But when I have to emphasize this, that someone from MAGA reposted my plea for help, it shows something wrong. It should be the opposite. There should be so many people say, oh, military veteran, he needs help, he needs to be reposted, government corrupt, this and that. But when I have to emphasize, thank you, Jen, for reposting my message, something's wrong in America. You know that. Something's just very wrong. And then it brings me this. And so this is what I think about wars here. What do I keep saying? What's the biggest threat? Let me bring it down here. What's the biggest threat that we have going on here? Let me put this on. Get some So one of the things I did was going to China. You want to find out who your enemy is. And when I went to China, I realized that really who our enemy is, the white man who's betraying us. Remember the book Patriots Betrayed? China never betrayed us. The white man. It really is. The dangerous road, the savage state, understand the deep of that game. This is a shame. And this is where we're going to go. You know it now. Remember, I went to China, had nothing to do with money. I went there because I want understand this beast called China, and it's growing. But what I found out is actually the real danger for America is actually the white man. The white man is our biggest strength, and the white man is also been our biggest traitor. Not Israel has never betrayed us. One, China has never betrayed us. Russia has never betrayed us. The black man, which I'm going, has never betrayed us. Even when it comes to women, I don't think women this is it's related to war. Who has betrayed us? The white man. If I would go back to America and I feel like a political organization run, I have no doubt about it. It would be the white man and the white woman standing in front of me, calling whatever names they want. They would be. Now, who they're working for in the background, that could be a game of fight. But ultimately, the person who has raised the white man, the patriot, the Christian, the nationalist, is the betrayer, white woman and the white man. It's our own people. We have betrayed our own self. And until you realize that, you'll not understand anything. It's not trying. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the first video. And the first video is great. It's going to show you. Oh, I hear Shane. The video's playing. Interesting. I'm surprised you can't get both. Now I'll know it. Anyway, let me look at the comments real quick. Grandfather's told me be prepared for all my life. Once the SMP, the videos. Okay, here, this is what we're going to do. Hopefully, if you didn't get that, I kept saying the biggest betrayer of the white man is the white person. China has never betrayed us. Israel has never betrayed us. The black woman, we're going to get into it, has never betrayed it. The biggest betrayers are the white man and the white women. They have just betrayed us. If I ever went back to America, the first people that would be standing in front of me trying to obstruct me who I am would probably be white men and white women, calling me whatever names. So this is what we're going to do. Watch this. I'm going to give you a good example on this. Yeah, okay, I got you, Shane. So this is so I want to do this quick. This is the first video, and watch this real quick.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself, not stand.
Now, I want to emphasize this in the beginning, because what did I keep saying? If you see these two men right here, these two men are congressmen. They're both former Navy SEALs. I've written both of them. The one person is an absolute shitbag. He's the bald guy, Van der Owen. I really know him. His administrative assistant knows about me. There's a story with me and him. So what did I keep saying about the person who's going to betray us, the white man? These are two congressmen who've leached off the American taxpayer their whole life, whether in the military, as mercenaries. These people are mercenaries, and now as congressmen. And what did they do to a fellow military veteran that said, hey, I need help? Remember, they're not civilians anymore. Their paycheck comes from the United States government. Because what I want to do is, I know the typical white man is going to look at, let me pull her up here. They're going to look at that woman shouting, and they're going to say something that you're probably too uncomfortable to say. Don't worry about it. I'll say it for you. She's a sand nigger. I know it's impolite, it's unprofessional, but let's just get out. So that's cat's out of the bag. Believe it or not, let me bring this up. Believe it or not, I don't look at her as the enemy. I don't look at her as betraying us. Why? Because she's someone outside my tribe, my family. I have nothing against them. I mean, do you really wake up and have a dislike for people in Somalia? I've never been to Somalia, don't want to go, but best of luck to them. That's all I could say. So how did this woman get into power? How did this woman was able to get our taxpayer money? She's absolutely corrupt. And again, just so you know, her passport should be revoked and she should be sent back to Somalia. And I believe Donald Trump is doing that, and good for him. But you do have to ask yourself, did these people really betray us? I would probably say the white man has betrayed us. And who are these white men? Well, starting here with these two shitbags right there, this is part of the problem. We have been betrayed by our own white men. And I keep saying, this war that we're into, give it time, but our system's going to go down. But anyway, let's watch this clip here, and that way we know where we're talking.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed.
Now, this is where Donald Trump, though, really can get the crowd, the MAGA, and including me, nationalisms behind him. This woman, these women, I don't know how the hell they got there. Again, it's because the white man betrayed us. But it sounds like Donald Trump is taking corrective action. And what should that be? Deport them. Their citizenship should be revoked and deported. And for that, he can really unite so many people in America, from the MAGA to the far right to not. But this is America.
That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of.
I mean, I think of myself in China trying to do anything close to that politics. It's not even conceivable to do that in China as a foreigner, as a white man. And look what we've given this woman here. She hit the lotto. And so for this, it's easy to understand why we should be aligned to Donald Trump. But what I want you to do is focus on that white woman sitting up front. This is the white woman, because how am I tying this episode to the Iranian war? The Iranian people, again, I don't know much about Iran. They never betrayed us. So why are we getting into this war? This is about betrayal. So I want to go back to this woman here. This white woman, I'm sure this white woman has a dislike for white men. I'm sure this white woman, you see her in the front here. She's a Democrat. I don't know who she is, but she's a Democrat. And I'm sure she dislikes white men. Oh, she would hate me. She would like, I'm a racist, a misogynist, this and that. So out of all the people sitting there, I don't see the person on the far left. You know, I see a black guy and I guess 2 Arab black women, but this white woman, who do I have the most anger for out of all of that white woman? The rest of them, I don't have a problem with. We just shouldn't, we should be separated. They should have never gotten that. Think about it. If you think I'm wrong, what would George Washington say? He'd say the same thing. He's like, how the hell, to include the white woman, how the hell did any of these people get in political power? And what's the answer? Weak white men. It always comes down to weak white men. But look at this white woman. I'm sure but you could tell her, and to the white women who put your cards and money in on these multiracial, you could tell even her, she's uncomfortable where she is. Because when white men are not around to protect white women, she's going to realize, even this white woman, she made the wrong decision.
Criminal aliens, in many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people.
You could tell, even the white woman, she's looking back like, I don't know if I like you. Listen, sweetheart, you betrayed the white man. You wanted to join this Democrat group here. You got the black man, you got the Arab woman, you got the black woman, and it's like, hate white men. I'll tell you, there's 2 people I don't have sympathy for. Weak white men that are traitors and weak white women who are traitors, whether they're liberal, they're you name it. Other people, I don't really, and that's, again, I've changed my mind about China. I don't think the Chinese should be allowed to immigrate to America and become American citizens. But I look at those 4 people right there, and the typical white man, I'm sure his most anger is with the stand nigger. That's impolite. You shouldn't say that stuff. It just sounded funny when I said it. But anyway, but I don't. I look at the Somali woman. I don't even know where that other Arab woman comes. And that black man. Hey, the black man could be a nice man, but I just don't view them as part of my extended family. So I'm surprised how they got it. But that white woman, who I don't know, and I'm making assumptions, but I bet you it's a good assumption that she's this anti-white, strong male woman. She's a piece of shit. That's the only one in there I have true anger for. I know it. The Ilhan Omar really angers a lot of white men. I don't look at her. I look at the white men and like, how the hell did she even get a passport to begin? Like, how did this happen? Weak white men. And I would look at Ilhan Omar with no hatred. I would politely revoke her American citizenship, put her on an airplane, economy class airplane, send her back to America. And I would probably, because she was very rude, I would make it so she could never return to America ever, even on a tourist visa. But I would just say best of luck to you, and to the Somali people, best of luck. That's it. Because I wouldn't blame her. You have to look at it the same way you look at a spoiled child. You don't argue with a spoiled child. You look like a moron. You go to the parents. It's the same thing in the military. If you see a unit that is a soup sandwich, the first thing you do is, who is the officer in charge? So again, I get it. I know how she angers a lot of people, but I look at more of the white woman. She's a piece of shit, the white woman. But how white men allowed this to happen.
Out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
This is where Donald Trump is right. I mean, he's definitely easy to bring these people together. Let's go to the next one here. Let's go for this one here. Now, this is again about Ilhan Omar, and I want to emphasize this again.
How Trump's economy has failed the American people, but I think the American people really want to know.
Okay, so what I want to do for this one before we do it is, again, everyone's focusing on Ilhan Omar. She's corrupt. Again, it's very simple. Her passport should be revoked. She should be deported back or whatever. She should just have to leave America. And I would say she should never be able to return to America ever again, permanently. I mean, we could think of other things you want to do, but I don't really have anger. But I want to focus on the white women in this. Because what do I keep saying? Remember that video I kept saying about know your enemy, become your enemy? I focus on white men and white women. It really is. And I have more of a neutral view of other people. I want you to focus on these two white women in there, and I'm going to comment on them. Guess we'll put it up here. Hopefully you can see it okay.
Congresswoman Omar, you were just talking about how Trump's economy has failed the American people, but I think the American people really want to know how you went from a negative 65,000 before coming into Congress to over $30 million in just 7 years.
My disclosure is public now.
Yeah, it is. And
so what I want to do is, you have two white women. You have the one white woman who works for Ilhan Omar. She's the liberal. And then you get the other white woman who's like, man, I'm MAGA. And I'm thinking to myself, both of you white women should have never meaning the reason why Ilhan Omar has been able to do what she's done is one of the reasons is white women were allowed to vote. Never should have done that. But I look at both these women, both of them should be home raising their kids. But I just look at them. You have this Ilhan Omar, and everyone focuses on her, but you have these two white women. And again, I'm not a fan of these MAGA women. Most of these MAGA women are fake feminists. They tell you they're conservative, they're feminists. And I want you to ask you, as a white man, how did we allow these two white women to become so much in power? And if you think it's a good idea, then that's why we have Ilhan Omar. It is connected. The dots connect.
so a lot of people now are looking into that and finding S. Crew Winery, a winery that doesn't actually seem to exist. Is that a real winery, or?
Do you all actually look at and read things, or do you just ask?
I also look at the MAGA woman. Her makeup is smeared. She's dressed like a prostitute. I mean, dress more conservative. Go home and raise your kids. But so these MAGA women who think they're conservative, that's what I'm saying. You white women, however you do it, on the right or the left, you're still burning your bridges. One day you're going to realize that your biggest protector, your biggest provider is the white man, and you betrayed us. Not good. But like I said, I look at more of these two white women like, how did we allow this to happen? And of course, then you're going to get this woman, Ilhan Omar. But I don't have a problem with Ilhan. Just deport her back to Somalia.
Silly questions.
Well, it's listed in the financial disclosure, so can you explain it? Because we have a lot of questions about it, and things just aren't adding up. There's no real phone number. There's no real location.
Why did you want to bite some wine?
Probably not from you, to be honest. Recently.
All right. It's just, I almost feel like we're in high school with these people. Like, how did they get like this? Now, we're going to do another one. Now, what I want you to do is be very careful with this. So we got this guy. Hopefully you could see it. I got to read the name. He's fine. I guess he's a congressman, or is he a senator? So when you look at this stuff, you're like, man, I agree with him. And I do. I think Ilhan Omar should be expelled, deported, permanently barred. I don't know, maybe send her to jail a little bit. But either way, she needs to be denaturalized. She should not be a U.S. citizen anymore. and she should be permanently deported from America. Okay, we get this. But don't fool yourself. We're also run by these guys. I don't know if you know it, but this guy is a full-blown Zionist, man. He loves Israel. And the point being is the reason you're seeing now that there's a big push in America, and it's eventually going to get to Europe on how we need to fight Islam, is because the Jews know that the white man is not going to stand up to the Jews. They're just not. And when I say Jews, I know it's a topic. I need to do it. You know, I have Jewish friends and this and that. But this topic of Zionism, of Israel, of putting another country before your own. But guess who will stand up to them? Meaning in Western countries. Oh, the Arabs, the Islam, they fucking hate them. So they realize that they really need to start kicking these people out. So I mean, I'm trying to put this delicately, like, yeah, this guy, I forgot what his full name is. I can't see it. It's fine. He's right. Kick her out, and the Jews will do it. But don't fool yourself. This guy's not exactly our ally either. Meaning, this guy's a congressman who basically puts Israel first. How can that have happened? All right, hopefully you saw that. Let me bring it to the next one. So these things come together. So remember the one thing that I really like is living in the Western world, or in the non-Western world, and you'll realize, what do I keep saying? Women, racial minorities, and immigrants are absolutely spoiled. You have no clue. This is just a quick clip in Hong Kong. This is totally true. And the point being is this stuff would not happen in America. So hopefully you can see, this is a black woman who alleged rape in Hong Kong, yet they sent her to prison. Totally true. So again, British woman who reported rape in Hong Kong may now face prison time. What I'm trying to say here is, I keep saying it, the reason America is losing power, it correlates in so many ways, is the white man is losing power in America. And when the white man is losing power, everything. In these other countries, you think this black woman, if you're a black person and you're in Asia, good luck. Not going to happen. Let me remove this. So let me come here too. So we're talking about war.
Would you fight?
So now we're talking about wars. And now we're talking about the rape. This is, again, too, even in America, all these MAGA people are talking about the war with Iran. Everyone is so pro-war. Most of these people never served in the military, wouldn't serve in the military, but they're all about wars. But if you really think about it, what would happen in America if we really had to do a draft? Now, this is in England, but you don't think this would happen in America? It would. And I don't blame this person's answer. They're right. How they became citizens in Britain, that's a story because of weak British men.
If a war was to break out, would you fight for this country?
Absolutely no way. This ain't my country. I might be a British citizen, but I'm here just to live and be at peace. I'm not here to fight no one else's battles, you know what I mean?
So some people might say, you've been raised here, you've got the fruits of the country, maybe you should defend it.
Tell that to your Marjay, bro. Your Marjay grew up here too, like, your family grew up here. Tell your family to go to the war, innit? Me and my family are taking the first plane out of there. Out of there. Okay. Gone.
So I think a lot of people, would look at that and they would want to put their anger on this man. I don't. First of all, what he's saying is true. I keep saying it. Your nationality is second. I know, my biggest obstacle is speaking to white cuck men, even the Republican Party. Remember, you're an American. It doesn't matter the color of your skin or no, wake up. He's saying the truth. You go around the world, your race, I keep saying, the Chinese that come to America and become citizens, they will always have a bond to their motherland called China. So one, he's speaking truth. The second, why would you get angry with him? You probably should get angry to ask yourself, how did he become a British citizen to begin with? I would probably say our most remarkable American citizen in America is George Washington. You could say the father of America, the leader of America, the first president, this and that. He's from Great Britain. He's English. What do you think he would have said that? Meaning, you have to put the blame on English men. We're talking white men here, the original British men. They allowed this to happen. They betrayed you and me. I want you to, I don't know if this concept is already familiar in America or not. It definitely wasn't familiar with me at all until I went to China. But you look at them differently, meaning you look at these people from other places like the Chinese, and one, you'll realize really quick, they will not accept you. You think I'm wrong? Well, then as a white man, go to Africa. Go to Africa, see if they accept you. As a non-Jew, go to Israel, see if they accept you. So once you go to these places, you realize that they're not going to accept you, even though in your brain, coming from America, you're like, man, we're all one big happy family, which is a lie. So once you go to these places, you realize they won't accept you, but they're not going to accept you because they hate you. They just don't accept you because, yeah, it's the same thing. A man is a man, a woman is a woman, a dog's a dog. It's apples and oranges. Has nothing to do with hate. But I am not Chinese. I will never be Chinese, so the Chinese will never accept me. Has nothing to do with hate. It's just I'm not Chinese. But then you ask yourself, you're like, wait a minute. If I cannot be accepted in your country, then why do I have to accept you in my country? Well, we don't have a country anymore. We don't, meaning the West. It doesn't. Our country's been sold out. It's a globalist corporation now. But who did that? It's white people. Yes, but those white people were working for the evil Jews in Israel. I'm not going to deny that, but at the end of the day, it was still white people. I mean, Donald Trump looks like a white guy to me, right? Looks pretty white to me. I think he's German and Scottish heritage. So sure, there's people that might be in the background pulling strings, giving money. I'm not going to deny that. But ultimately, the people that are making the decisions that we entrusted, most of the time, these guys were white guys, and they betrayed us. So again, I looked at that video. I actually don't have any anger anymore. I've just changed my mind. Even the Chinese looked at me and they said, listen, because I said it's not fair. I told them, I said, it's not fair that you can immigrate to America and become a citizen, but I can't become a citizen in China. You know what they said? Well, then change the system. It's your country. Why do you allow it? And but we've lost control, and we know that. But I want to say, every time you start seeing that sense of betrayal, what is it? You have to get racial. And because we refuse to get racial as white people, it's like we would rather die than be this so-called racist. I don't think we're ever going to learn until we become a racial minority. And then you start realizing that white men and white women are truly the ones who betrayed us. And those are the ones you should be angry. It's kind of like Kash Patel. What a dipshit. You saw him at the hockey game. It's an embarrassment to J. Edgar Hoover, what he's done. But anyway, he should have never become the director. I mean, could you immigrate to India and do what Kash Patel was doing? Never. It's impossible. So how did he allow that? Well, Donald Trump put him in charge. So it always comes back to the white man. And I keep saying, if you're not sure what political or ethics or morals you should do, I don't ask yourself, what would our World War II veterans say? What would our founding fathers, George Washington, say? And I have a feeling they would agree more with me than with actually MAGA. I don't even have to mention the liberals. I'm just talking about MAGA. I would think our founding fathers would agree more with me, meaning farther right, than even the MAGA people. Again, look at the MAGA people. They are so excited with Iran. And fucking A, man, we're going to bomb the shit out of Iran. And believe me, I'm not a peacenik. I believe in war. I believe in strong military. I even support a domestic intelligence, I'm not like one of these people, but how does it benefit me? It's like a man saying to a woman she wants to get married. And he's like, marriage is so outdated. It's so against white men with the laws. Try to sell me marriage. Like a woman, literally try to sell me marriage. It's going to be very difficult. So now I'm looking at MAGA. Try to sell me this war in Iran. I'm just a regular American citizen. Now my fucking dollar is going to drop. How is this going to benefit? Doesn't it sound familiar with the Taliban, Iraqi freedom? Has your life, think about it. The war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. If you're an American citizen, has life changed? Now, I've got some West Point friends that got into private security, this and that. They made a ton of money. I mean, the military-industrial complex, they made good. But I'm talking about the average American citizen that's not connected to the military-industrial complex. Has it changed your life? So I'm going to say again, how is this war with Iran? Now, it makes sense if you're Israeli. Totally makes sense. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with Israelis. I don't have a problem with Jews. I don't have a problem with Israel. So it makes sense if they say this war is going to help them. But I'm just saying, you're an average white American man. Try to sell me this war, especially a guy like Donald Trump, where we would thought, no way, he's not going to do this. He's pro-war now. How's this going to be? We'll see where this goes. Now, Donald Trump, I'll do another episode because this war, trust me, this war is going to keep going on. That, you know, he's doing things a little different. Like I said, no boots on the ground. We'll see if this is a success. But, you know, from Venezuela, I don't even know what he was thinking with Greenland. That was the most idiotic thing when he was talking about Greenland. But now we're in Iran. I think this is the second time, too. You know, we bombed it the first time. I guess we didn't bomb it enough. Now we're going to really bomb it to the Stone Age. Okay. I mean, why don't we just fucking nuke them? Let's just nuke them, and then what's going to be? All this private property or resort property like in Gaza and in Iran? Well, you're not going to get any of that. So, I mean, there are people in America that will make out tremendously with this war. But to the average American citizen, not really. I mean, your taxes are going to go up. The value of your dollar is going to go down. And two, I need to do an episode on this. I'm telling you, I think the FBI director, Kash Patel, this is the yo-yo, has put out a warning. I don't think most Americans know when you start traveling overseas as an American citizen, you already have it. I don't tell people I'm American, just so you know, I should do videos on, you know, in terms of lessons learned as an American living abroad. But now with this war, you're going to be the first. Anyone knows in a terrorism plot, the two worst passports you can have is an Israeli passport and an American passport. But let me pause it. We're going to do some more videos, but think about it. You know, we keep saying about the Chinese government, the Chinese people, American people, this and that. If you're an American citizen and you're caught abroad by any of these forces, do you think it's a good excuse to say, man, I'm just an American citizen, man. I'm not my government. I wasn't Donald Trump. I was against this war. I mean, good luck with that. I know how I would look at the same how I look at with the Chinese citizens. I've said many times, I don't see that much difference between Chinese citizens and the Chinese government. Guess what? The same can be said about the American government. I mean, the amount of shitbag support I've received from MAGA with my thing. So what does that mean? If you're an American citizen and they catch your American passport abroad in a very compromising position, I don't think the excuse of, well, I was against the war, I didn't vote for Trump. I can tell you what, if I was a terrorist, I don't give a shit. You're an American citizen and your fucking head's on a chopping block. You don't think that's going to happen? So all these American citizens are like, hell yeah, man, let's bomb the shit out of Iran. I hope you know what you're doing. I hope you know what you're doing. Think about it. Do you, as an American citizen, do you feel safe going to Afghanistan or Iraq? This is where the generals lied to you. Think about it. Either victory or defeat. That's how West Point is taught. This is war. It's like the bullet. You're either alive or dead. It's win or lose. Not it. Did we win the war in Afghanistan and Iraq? If we won the war, then you, as an American citizen, should be able to travel those two countries as the victor. You know, people helping you and cheering for you. Do you feel safe going to Afghanistan and Iraq as an American citizen? No. Why? We lost the war. We lost it. Now we're all of a sudden going to change it with Iran. We'll see. It's going to get worse. You're going to see it. Let's just oh yeah. Let's put this up. This is the dipshit here. This is the guy protecting us from terrorism. This is our fearless leader. I'll do a comment on this. Okay, that's about enough. One thing that I left the government is, especially the FBI, you can look at the FBI grifters. They're a lot of them were dorky guys, incels. I see again. If you show me an American man who's really intelligent, really hardworking, and willing to take risks, I'd be amazed he's going to make a career in the government. Now, he could be like Pat Tillman. I put Pat Tillman in there, but he wanted to, and he was fooled with patriotism. He's like, hey, I want to get in the Rangers. I want to go to war, and then I'm going to leave. Like, you get some people like in and out. But I'm talking about career people. You don't get them. A lot of people. So same thing with his FBI director. Just the mannerisms, it's just, they're very dorky and just, it's just an embarrassment. And you know what it is? A lot of times it's low testosterone. I'm telling you, believe it or not, you could go to Wall Street as much as you believe those guys are scumbags. Because I said, a lot of these people are sociopaths. And what is sociopath? Intelligence and testosterone combined. You will find more testosterone in Wall Street than you can in the FBI or the CIA. I'm not kidding you. Now, it is true in the FBI and the CIA, they do have what's called a shooters or paramilitary. So I get it. Guys that are in special operations, there's a bit of a difference. Guys in the Rangers, the Delta Force, stuff like that. I get that. But I'm talking about the typical case agent CIA, the typical case agent for the FBI. No doubt about it. You go to Wall Street, you'll find more testosterone there. Why? Because it's that feeling, I want to get rich, I want to get money. And they're a lot of times they're scumbags. They're going to step on people, cheat people. But in the FBI, it just felt like this, it's like a sausage party. I can't explain it. Like I said, when I left, I've never said anything negative about it until I got on social media. But it's just really dorky to the point of why aren't they communicating to me? They're scared, they're hiding. I mean, I don't want to go into it, but it's a never-ending story. But anyway, this is our fearless person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this final video, and I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm going to we'll do a video on Iran later. Again, this war's not going to be done anytime soon. But Shane, I see Shane, the FBI should probably be able to take 50% of those hockey players. It's just the way he does it. I can't explain it. And there should be other, let me tell you the story now, the time in the FBI. A lot of these FBI guys are just dorks. There was a guy that I befriended. He's not, and I'm going to explain it. And he said the same thing. He was a Division I. I won't say it because he's about to retire soon. He was a Division I football player, outside linebacker, good-looking white guy. He was in what's it called, a Columbine? You say the Columbine, the Columbine to go into the NFL. Got an injury. I mean, he was a starter. He was you could look him up. He was a top. I mean, this guy was fucking huge and good-looking white guy. But he got injured. But he's a smart guy. He decided to get an MBA. Was into doing some business. Then he got into engineering, and the FBI was picking up engineering majors. For certain time, there's certain majors that were really big and doing. And he goes into the FBI. Now, this is a good-looking guy. Most FBI agents that go in there, I'm telling you, they were either bullied or perhaps they were bullies, but also a lot of times they were kind of nobodies. They're dorks, and they relish the badge and the gun because it's power. You've probably seen it, like this cop who pulls you over on a traffic stop, and at that point of time, he's God, right? It doesn't matter who you are, but at that point of time, during this traffic stop, this fucking yo-yo cop, he's God, and they love that power. Anyway, the difference between this guy, I won't say his name. I think he's got still 2 more years before retirement. He didn't go management. He just stayed as an agent, and he agreed with me. He's like, David, this job is overrated, but he's like, this is the easiest job I'll ever get for the money I can do, because he hated corporations. And he's like, it's an easy job. I'm to myself. I get to do fun stuff. But he said the same thing. He goes, I didn't need this badge and the gun to be a popular guy. He goes, I had so many girls. I mean, he was a top-notch star in Division I football, big guy. And so he admitted it. He goes, this job is overrated. And he goes, I admit it. He goes, I'm staying in here because it's the cushiest, easiest job I could do to get a pension. At least he's admitting it. And I like that. And he's like, and he goes, it's a joke. These other people are fucking joke, but whatever. He goes, it's an easy paycheck, an easy pension. And he's like, now I can't quit. Because once you get around 10 years, but you would be surprised. He is an anomaly. Really, he's an anomaly. A lot of these guys go into the FBI. So, and if you David, I disagree with you. I don't know. That was the FBI director right there, Kash Patel. I don't know. He's some dorky Indian guy who's dating a Mossad agent because he can't get a beautiful white girl. I mean, the whole thing is just embarrassing. And I mentioned this too, because like I said, when I left the FBI, I never would talk about this stuff. Never. Because it's embarrassing to me. But after a while, you have to ask yourself, how's the whole FBI ignoring us? And how does this relate now to this part about the war and everything? Well, the first thing is terrorist attacks are coming. This is the guy. The FBI is the lead government agency for counterterrorism. I don't know how he got into power, but you got to go back to white men. Donald Trump, who's a white guy, put him in power. There's something going on with with Kash Patel's past, I don't know, money with Donald Trump, something. This guy, I never followed him, but anyway, he's the guy in charge of counterterrorism. If J. Edgar Hoover also was the one who built up the FBI. He built, talk about leadership, talk about building a government department from scratch. There's a lot to be said about Director Hoover. This Indian guy comes in there and already gets the reins for one of the most premier government agencies the world has ever seen, and it's just going downhill. But anyway, when the terrorist attacks start, and I don't blame them, Americans are going to be targeted. This Indian man is going to be protecting you. We'll see where that goes. But let me show you this last clip here, and I'm going to put it together. And I think this last clip is pretty interesting. And oh, by the way, I should mention it. This clip I put on my TikTok, and it was immediately banned. You have no clue, but we all know this. TikTok overseas is not ByteDance in China. It's two totally different versions. And don't fool yourself. The powers that be, in fact, I believe TikTok in America was already bought by some Jewish guy. But anyway, my original account on TikTok was banned because I sent similar things. So this was banned on TikTok, and I already got a warning. I'm on my 4th account on TikTok. But if you look at this clip, this will add these two concepts I brought together. One, we are so angry at this woman called Ilhar Omar. I get it. I wouldn't focus my anger on her. Who would I focus my anger on? Weak white men. Now we're looking at the war in Iran. And maybe you're going to focus your anger on Israel. You're going to say Israel's doing that. Well, Israel is not forcing us. Again, our president is a white man. So the same president, white man, who's doing, I'd say, a good job by hopefully kicking Ilhar Omar out of the country. He's the same guy that wants us to get in a war with Iran or doing it. But I want you to watch this clip, and I want you to look at the big picture. What is the big picture going on in the West? Again, this clip was banned in TikTok. What a beautiful song, too. We'll play that again. What a beautiful song. But what I want to do is, we all know what I'm talking about. And that clip is on England. It could be the same in America, the same in Germany, the same in the Western world. What would our forefathers, who've given us, our forefathers built an unbelievable Western country. It's going in the toilet. What would they think about us? What would they think about us? And think of these two topics we have now. We have Ilhar Omar, whatever her name is, and we have the war in Iran. Is the war in Iran going to really help us out in the West? Really? And what about Ilhar Omar? How did that happen? How did she become power? And look what's happened here. And you ask yourself, what is to blame? Who is to blame for this? It comes out. White women were allowed to vote. I don't blame white women. I blame white men. How did white women get allowed to vote? We'll do stories on that. I stand by that. Absolutely. If you're a MAGA woman and you believe women deserve the right to vote, that's fine. You're a feminist, though. You are a feminist, and you're going to be treated like a feminist. And if I'm a man and I want to go into a woman's bathroom, then fuck it. It's feminism. You're a man. That meaning white men have got to start holding. We don't hold anyone to standard. It's almost as if our forefathers looked at us and said, how did you let our country, our people, just be destroyed? And it's almost as if the white man is like, well, I didn't want to be called a racist, and I needed to get a girlfriend. So I had to simp for white women. So, because I'm a cuck and I have a small dick and I can't get a girl. So I need to just kiss ass the white women so I can get a date. And when it comes to black people in this, I don't want to be called a racist. What other excuse is that? And I agree. I've been, I don't know if it's red pill now, black pill. I don't know these terms anymore. China's helped me out. Oh my God, China's helped me out. Meaning the amount of racism that I've seen in China or how Chinese treat women, they have definitely. And oh, by the way, that's the non-Western world. But I just want you to ask yourself, look at this. We'll do this video one more time. And in some ways, it's such a shame. And remember, isn't it so glad that the English people don't have to be speaking German? Remember that? At least we don't have to be speaking German. Great, because now we could learn how to speak Arabic, because that's basically what you're going to have to learn how to speak.
I need an explanation. Tell me more. Why am I alone now? I don't know. How can I live forever? I don't know. Where can I find heaven? I don't know. What is going to happen? I don't know. Why?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to end it here. And obviously, I'm going to do more videos on Iran, and we'll get into it. It's not good. And again, so you know my point. One, it's not going to work out very well, number one. And two, I'm totally against it. It's just meaning we need to focus on America first. America is falling apart. And I said this again. We'll talk a little. The best way to protect America, again, we have an Indian man as the director of the FBI. It's embarrassing. I could do a better job as the FBI director than him in very simple ways, to include many things I could talk about intelligence. But this is the guy who's protecting us. One of the best ways to keep the threat of terrorism down, which is what I said about Director Wray, the director before, and I said he was bad. People objected. I don't know. Donald Trump fired him. Meaning you're starting to see it's evident now that the system's not working. That's why Christopher Wray got fired. Anyway, you need to control your population. I'm saying this from China. Less than 1% of the China, it's not even 1%, it's 0.2%. Not 2%, 0.2% are foreigners in China. Most of the foreigners are of Asian. So if there's a white guy walking around, if there's a black guy walking around, if there's an Arab guy walking around, well, one, we'll never become citizens. We are under surveillance. They know who we are. If we're going to live in a society in America where it's come on in, and trust me, Donald Trump, when it comes to legal immigration, he likes it. I don't. I'm not in favor. I think there should be a moratorium for 5 years on all immigration stop. But I go back to the point, because you're going to get terrorism now coming. But you shouldn't be surprised. If you bomb the shit out of a country, they're probably going to want to retaliate. That's not evil. That's called normal. If you bomb my country, I'm probably going to bomb yours. But if we're going to continue to live in a society in America that's sort of like an open society, that the Republicans and Democrats like, get ready, it's coming for you. Now, what does that relate to the original thing about Ilhan Omar? Again, I don't blame Ilhan Omar. How the hell did she? It is amazing coming from China how this woman was able to get to that level of power. I say again, if you're a white man and you're in China, it's just not even good. I don't know. It's like saying, hey, dude, I'm living on Mars. Like, how do you conceive that yet? How that woman was able to go from a shithole country called Somalia, go to America, become an American citizen, become an American congressman, and then whatever, she's worth $35 million. And if you think you're going to blame Somalis, I mean, have you ever seen Somali people? They're not very smart. It is what it is. We have that. So they're not very smart. How did she do it? And some people could say, it's the Jews. Well, I'm not going to argue that, but who did it? Who's working for it? It always comes to a white man. That's what I'm saying. It always comes to a fucking white man. And what I'm trying to tell you is, when you think about who has betrayed us, I think of two people, white men and white women. White men and white women. Donald Trump, who I've said, I like him. What he's doing with Iran, totally fucking wrong. This is the same dude, Donald Trump, who dodged the draft. None of his kids have served in the military. And I can tell you, Barron Trump is not going to go in the military if there's a draft. His father, Donald, is going to say, son, I dodged the draft during Vietnam, and I'm going to make sure you're not going to get drafted. So these are the people that are going in. But it comes down to the same thing. If this lesson can be learned again, our country has been compromised. We're already infiltrated. The danger's already there. Why? Because of weak white men. And I'll do another story on it, but people don't realize how much that source of the problem is. But until then, two things are going to happen. One, we'll do videos on Iran. It's not going to do well at all. It's going to get worse. I've seen this. I was in the military. I remember the videos back home, Operation Iraqi Freedom, these dumb generals. We have to go to Afghanistan. Now, yes, Donald Trump's not putting boots on the ground. I'll do a video. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. The American empire is declining. And like I said, we're worried about Iran when we have our own country. This woman called Ilhan Omar, along with so many other politicians, that are already traitors, meaning it is time to first clean house. Then we could worry about, helping out the world and cleaning other countries out, whatever you want to call that. But we probably need to clean house first. Donald Trump, his second term, he's already finished first year. How's he doing? I don't know. His administration people have already blocked me. I want to say, remember, these are the same there's a lot of dumb MAGA people. When I told them about Dan Bongino, they kept saying, David, you're wrong. Dan Bongino doesn't know about you. He's a good guy. No, Dan Bongino's a shitbag. I'm telling you, he blocked me, unblocked. He knows exactly who I am. They don't want my story because it's just a negative story on America. But he has a duty as a patriotic, whatever, as a podcaster. Then he was deputy director. And then people were starting to think, yeah, maybe Dan's a shitbag. Same thing. I call shots pretty good. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that are else that's going to happen in America. But either way, the war in Iran is going to go to shit. And you're going to see in America, until we as white men start realizing, like MAGA pushes that gender is real, we have to start pushing that race is real. And that woman named Ilhar Omar, she never should have gotten anything. But remember, Donald Trump is not alive because Donald Trump, as long as it's legal immigration, as long as they're rich, if there's a rich Somali, a rich Chinese, a rich Arab, Donald Trump will let him in. Wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it at all. Okay, let me go. Let me see. I see Ponce. All Western nations are in decline. U.S. made a U-turn, but can you maintain the trend after Trump's turn? Ponce, I would say this. I would say all Western nations, generally speaking, are in a decline, except Israel. I think we would agree Israel is considered a Western nation. Israel is also the only Western country that is fascism, it's nationalism, it's an ethno-state. So I would make one disagreement when it comes to Western nations, Israel, but we are in decline. But then he mentions U.S. has made a U-turn. I guess you're saying with Trump, but he can't. Well, I would disagree. And Pansy, I've said many times, I still believe Trump is the best president in my entire lifetime. He was president already for one term. Not much has changed. He's already been president for 1 year. And I get the whole thing about illegal immigrations. He wants them to get kicked out. He's doing in many ways the right thing. But I'm telling you, this apparatus called him, it's like, how would you save the Roman Empire in decline? I think sometimes history has a force that's unstoppable. The American empire is going down. And I say this to be very clear. If you're MAGA, Leadership 101, this is what I do, consult with the corporations too when they have visions. I'm going to do it right now. You're MAGA. Make America great again. People buy friggin' merchandise. Everyone knows this by now. What is it? What's the vision? And I want you to put objectivity and subjectivity into that, because I can guarantee if you had 100 MAGA people, we're talking diehard MAGA people, and you said, what is America great? What is that? What is it? So Trump succeeds, and he finally says to the American people, to MAGA, I'm ending my second term as a president because mission is accomplished. I said America will be great again, and it is now great. What is that? And the reason why it's a failure in leadership is if you interviewed 100 different MAGA people and said, what is that? What is this vision? How does it look like? How does it taste? How does it feel? What is it? I wouldn't be surprised that there's an 80 to 90% divergence on what it is. And so how can you accomplish the mission if you don't know what the mission is? I say it again, make America great. What is it? What have I said? Now, it's only a baseline, I agree. But I would say faith, family, freedom. We are going to make America a Christian majority. Christianity's dead, people. Christianity's dead. News to you, Christianity's dead. Even the Christians don't care about me. Even girls now. Girls are starting to realize they can't get married to become a fake feminist, become a fake Christian, right? I'm a girl. I've had gangbangs my whole life. I love big black cock, but now I'm a born-again Christian. So Christianity's flowing around. We are not a Christian nation anymore. So Christianity's dead. But that would be one thing. Make America, I would say we are now a Christian nation by whatever fundamentals, by whatever criteria. Second, family. We are a European nation. I don't know. I would say we have to be majority white, European. How much? 90% would be good. but MAGA would definitely not agree with that. Over 50% of MAGA would not agree with that. We're like, we don't believe in race. That's racism. And freedom. I don't know. There's a war on freedom of speech. We have to depend on billionaires like Elon Musk to give me free. That's not free speech, people. We need to have a country where free speech, you do not have to depend on the private sector. Elon, look at me. I'm on Rumble. And weird, it's Rumble. I'm losing followers. The point being is Rumble, X, and YouTube, these are all private companies, public companies, by the way, public companies. Freedom of speech should be protected, but you know what I'm saying? All of these owners, if they wanted to, shut me. That's what we're going to live in America, where freedom of speech, we have to depend on the private sector? No way. The government should need to step in. So I would say that would be my baseline. If someone said, well, David, what is America great to you? I would say Christianity's on the rise, Europeans on the rise, and freedom of speech is on the rise. Now you might say, but it is on the rise, David. All right, well, I guess so. We'll see. You know, I agree with Donald Trump is doing to Ilhar Omar is 100% correct, but we seem a long way there. But I say again, from leadership, make America great again. Then ask MAGA, what does that mean? And I'm telling you, be prepared. Even Donald Trump, and he should, I don't think he wants to, but Donald Trump, as the leader, you should define it. That's your vision. So I don't think he's ever defined. I don't even think, has a reporter ever asked him this? That's a weird thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's the weirdest thing. He's the leader. I assume he's come up with this slogan. Great slogan, by the way, make America great again. But has anyone really cornered him? I think he's a bit of a salesman. He doesn't want to lose votes, you know, because what I say could be very racist and whatever. But either way, that would be one point, is to define. And until we can define it, it's hard to say whether Donald Trump is successful or not. Because I really think at the end of the day, what's make America great? As long as we have money. I mean, I'm doing a tangent, but I think it's important. But think about it. What if you asked American citizens, listen, we can nuke or bomb Iran into the Stone Age and we could kill every single person. If we do, the stock market's going to go up and we're going to get rich. Or we can not bomb them, but now we're going to have a crappy economy. What do I think Americans? Meaning, I think the only metric really that Americans care about, because we're a corporation, is money. So I think if the economy does well and we all are rich, I think maybe that's the only metric. Like I said, I think to Americans, you said, listen, we have two choices. We could just bomb and kill the Iranian people and we'll get rich. I mean, that's what the military-industrial complex is. They don't care. It's all about money. Or we cannot go war with Iran, but then you're going to have your same shitty salary. I think a lot of Americans would be like, let's just bomb the shit out of them. I don't care. I want a new car. I really think that's what Americans are. So I really think the only metrics that really stands out in America is money, economics. Good luck with that, though. You know, I understand economics. I mean, I understand it's important, but be very careful where this goes, because eventually it's going to come back. But that's sort of how I look at Donald Trump, a bit of a CEO running a global corporation called America. But he's running it like a CEO. But that's about it. That's Pansy, let me just see it here. Not so many EU companies already moved on. I'm trying to see here. I see, if you want the truth about listen, yeah, Peter Schiff. I think this guy, Peter Schiff, and I think Peter Schiff has been, I never heard about him until I heard about the crypto. And I you know, these crypto guys are like, gold is bad. And I don't know where that came. And everyone's heard it. I'm still pro crypto, but wherever gold is not a good investment, I'd be very, very cautious of anyone who says gold and silver is not a good investment. It's been around for thousands of years. So what Peter Schiff was saying, I found it sounded like common sense to me. Like, I don't even know how even the guy was controversial, how any guy could say, listen, I think gold is a good investment. I don't understand how anyone, but these crypto people said gold, it doesn't make any sense. I've always been, gold is a very good investment along with silver. Could be other precious metals. I don't study precious metals that much. I really just look at gold and silver, but I'm sure there could be other precious metals that are very good. But anyway, didn't make sense, this whole crypto versus gold debate. Maybe they're both good, which I'm looking at them, but anyone who says gold is not a good investment, I think is crazy. Pansy says Germany killed its energy industry. I think I'm pronouncing it Pansa. I guess you're talking about recently, yeah, with Russia, whatever, stuff like that. We all know the deal with the whole Russia thing. America America does not, it goes back, oh, this is an interesting thing. I know I'm doing a tangent, but while I have you, I've got to do this. I've got probably more international experience than most. In fact, if you do the study, the people with the most international experience are actually U.S. military guys. That's how it starts, because U.S. military is stationed over abroad. But then you could get in select groups like foreign service, the foreign service diplomats, or professional expats. But I'm getting to the point now, I'm now getting very close where I've spent now the majority of my life overseas, mostly in Europe or Asia, a little bit in the Middle East, but very little. And this is an interesting story about Iran and how we're doing. So I got very good friends with people from Poland, Polish people. And what you may not know is after World War II, the Poles were extremely upset with America and England. And again, what I'm trying to lay this out is we in America still don't have a very good track record of wars, and we never really quite understand the truth, to include World War II. And I should say this for another episode. But anyway, let's just use common sense, because the point came up with Ponzi about Germany selling their energy with Russia, how Russia did it. America never wanted Germany and Russia to be friends, because America, and I learned this when I was in NATO as well, because we don't want them. It was the same thing in World War II, where we allied with the communists. These people were commies. The only reason we allied with the Soviet Union is because we're afraid of Germany. And so guess what? Well, we learn all the time that the reason we went into war, besides the Holocaust, is that Germany invaded Poland. Whether you know this or not, a lot of Poles are pissed off with World War II. So Germany invaded Poland, and that's why we got into the war. And after the war, who did we give Poland to? The fucking communists. What do I mean by that? The Poles were absolutely, any Pole, if when the war was done, they could have chosen to be occupied by the Germans or the Soviet Union. The Nazis it's not even close. It'd be the Nazis. And so they were like, what, like, how could you do this to us, America? You're telling us that you went into this war because evil Germany invaded us, the Poles. So you come to the rescue, and your solution now is to hand us over to the Soviet Union communism. To this day, a lot of the Poles are pissed. So what am I trying to say about that? I would say, like a lot of times, just like with Iran, why are we doing this? Some people are like, no, we're doing Iran because of China. No, we're doing it because of Israel. Either way, we're not doing it because of Americans, that's for sure. And a lot of our history and a lot what we learned is just not accurate. But either way, like I said, I think we're going to have to take time and go out. Let me just see if there's any other things. Still talking about silver and gold. Like I said, and I've said many times, I am invested in crypto, but I think you are crazy, but it's risky. Crypto is risky. But I think you're nuts if you're not invested in gold and or silver. You're crazy. That's always been my base investment and then out. But when people talk negative about gold or silver, I don't know where they're coming from, either a place of retardedness or something. So I'm not taking anything against Peter Schiff, but I don't know, even some ways, why is he considered so smart for saying something that's so common sense? So any powers that be that want to say negatively about investing in gold or silver, that should immediately raise your red flag. To include crypto, how they're saying gold is not a good investment. Something's just very off on that. I don't really understand it. But again, my advice is gold and silver, great investment. Possibly, and I'll do another video. Possibly. Now, also what I've learned more about gold and silver is because of China. And it's not just China, but these other countries. I've done a tangent. I've talked enough. What we'll do is the next videos, we're definitely going to do a video on Iran. The war is not going to be over anytime soon. And guess what I need to talk about? Economics, silver, because I don't think you realize these dumb MAGA people, man, let's go to war with Iran. Yeah, all that tax money. Where are we going to get that money from? Look at Ilar Omar, too. I'm trying to connect the stores. All that fraud. Where's that fraud coming from? Taxpayer money. It's coming. And what's that? It's going to be print. And people, this can't be done. And guess what? There's going to be two valves. One is going to be gold, without a doubt, gold and silver. The other I'm actually thinking is also going to be crypto. But either way, this U.S. dollar is going down. And when it goes, there's going to be few people that win big, Trump and the oligarchs. But I think a lot of American citizens, this could be that you own nothing and be happy. I think the situation in America, and I think Trump is blowing out his asshole a lot of times, the economy. I don't think the economy is as strong as people think. I think it's going to get worse. But two videos we need to talk about is going to be economics, gold, and how it's relating with the war and with particularly China, the BRICS. And two, we'll talk about this Iran war. It's not going to be done anytime soon. And you're going to see a lot of these dumb MAGA people. They reminded me exactly like in America. When we went to war in Iraq, I wrote my congressman who got me into West Point. I still remember this. This was like right when Iraq was kicking off. I said, I don't understand why we're in this war. But the same thing with these Americans. It's the same thing when I left the FBI in 2007 because the war on terror, there was no way I was going to go public. People would think I'm crazy. Like the FBI, dude, it's the war on terror. The FBI is protecting us from all these evil terrorists. Forget it. But people drink the Kool-Aid. And you're seeing a lot of MAGA people like, yeah, man, fucking war with Iran. Good luck to them. Same thing. It's repeating as it is. Gold and tulip crypto is a shit show. Yeah, I would say, like I said, definitely gold and metals. If you go in crypto, think about like you're going to Las Vegas. If you're like a Las Vegas gambling person, then sort of you got to remember it. But gold and silver, I think if you're not invested in gold and silver, I actually think you're crazy because this dollar's going down. But I think gold and silver could be one of the most life-saving investments you could do in your life. And so all these people who like this war in Iran, if you're a gold investor, it's going to do great. Okay, I think that's it, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Next video, we'll do something either economics with gold or it'll be Iran, one or the other. David Baumblatt. And again, for all these MAGA people that are like pro-war, again, here I am, a military veteran. I served in the war on terror, and I'm not even welcome to go back to America. Just use that. We're now going to war with Iran, and these MAGA people love military veterans now. And there I was on the war of terror, both in the FBI and in America, and I'm not welcome back in America, military veteran. And the FBI director, who looked like a fucking yo-yo college kid drinking beer, they're too afraid to talk with me because they don't want to incriminate themselves. And you're telling me this is right, and all the MAGA people are silent. You're going to see my videos are going to age like fine wine. And one of them is the systems are not working. The American empire, which we are a globalist empire, is in decline. And sooner or later, collapse, revolution, or civil war, something in there of absolute, it's going to happen. You're going to see it. Until the meantime, I probably say the best thing is just buy some gold because that's where this Iran war is going to take us. Until then, David Baumblatt from Terrabin's Leadership telling the Patriots, appreciate your support. Lead to victory.